Okay, hello again. I want to talk about knife crime again because it is seriously getting out of hand, especially over in London. Just been listening to LBC and looking through social media again, and there's been another two stabbings. A 17-year-old boy and a 17-year-old girl. I don't really know much about it, I haven't looked into it. But of course, as usual, the government wants to blame knives. It's the fault of the knives. We need to ban knives. So once again, they're talking about cracking down on knives. What they actually said, I think it was the Home Secretary, Sajid Javid, I could be wrong, but I think it was him, that says they're wanting to make it harder for people to get knives. Now, that's just plain ridiculous. There's so many problems with that. And honestly, it is already difficult to get knives, at least here in Scotland. I don't really know about England, but here in Scotland, I mean, I've already made a video. I've already explained this in a video. Here you need to say why you want a knife. You need to sign a register, literally a knife register, saying why you want it, your name, your date of birth, your address. And if I remember right, you have to give your signature as well. So they are already difficult to get. And I would imagine that when you buy a knife online, they probably keep a database as well. But to suggest making it harder to get knives now, how do you do that? I mean, you need to remember how long knives have been around. Knives have been around for over 1,000 years. We've had knives before we've had metal. So how are you going to stop people getting knives? Now let's just say you completely ban all pocket knives, all combat knives, all survival knives, all knives like that. Just say you banned them all. What are you going to do when you realise that knife crime hasn't went away? That people are still using kitchen knives as they always have done. Then what are you going to do? Are you going to ban kitchen knives? Honestly, that's not even a joke, because they will do that, because they already have suggested to do that. I remember years and years ago, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, some doctor, I think it was a Glaswegian doctor as well, suggested that long kitchen knives should just be outright banned to prevent stabbings. And you'd think a doctor wouldn't say something as stupid, because being a doctor, you would think that he would realise that you could be stabbed with other things other than just knives. You would think that he would see injuries from other sharp implements. And it doesn't even have to be sharp, really. I mean, even just like a steel rod that isn't designed for penetrating. You know what I mean? You could easily make a makeshift knife, makeshift dagger, etc. You know, like a prison shank or something. So I don't know what they're hoping to achieve. And they've also got the case of Judge Nick Mage, who suggested that knives are too sharp and pointy. Well, obviously they're sharp and pointy. It's a knife. It's supposed to be sharp and pointy. It's supposed to penetrate and it's supposed to cut. Guess what? It wouldn't work if it wasn't sharp and pointy. Knives that aren't sharp and pointy, butter knife. What's that useful for? Only cutting, well, only spreading butter. That's about it. Maybe cutting a sandwich. I like to see you cut your steak with a butter knife. And honestly, even if you can cut your steak with your butter knife, that's not what it's for. It's for buttering things. That's what's called a butter knife. Strangely enough, though, the British police are already cracking down on butter knives. I mean, you already see them picking them up as part of a weapon sweep. And not only that, someone has invented some sort of kitchen knife that actually you can stab with. It literally doesn't have a point. It's sharp, but it doesn't. It's not got a tip on it. It's rounded off. Apparently this is just as functional as any other kitchen knife, but I've got my doubts, honestly. I could see that being, honestly, a pain in the ass to use. And let's just say you've completely banned the sales of all pointy kitchen knives. Well, what about the hundreds of millions of knives that are already in circulation? Do you really think those are just going to magically disappear just like that, just because you banned them? Not going to happen. They're still going to be available. People are still going to have them. People are still going to use them in crime. Not only that, these silly modern kitchen knives that you're not supposed to be able to stab with, it's still a piece of steel. You could still put an edge on it. You could still put a point on it. 10 minutes with a metalworking file, or 2 minutes on a bench grinder, 2 minutes on an angle grinder, a belt sander, etc. Even using a whetstone with enough time and dedication, you could put a point on that thing. And if there's someone that's really that desperate to stab someone, they're going to find a way to do it. Whether they illegally acquire a knife, they make their own, they modify one, they import it. There's so many ways you can get knives. I mean, you could take another tool and make it into a knife. A lot of knife makers, a lot of you have probably seen this, a lot of knife makers actually use old files, old metalworking files. They melt them down, or sometimes they might even just put an edge on it. I mean, really, if you think about it, maybe an hour on a grinder with an old file, just honestly, just even 5 minutes just working on the tip of it, you can put a point on it. So you really can't just outright ban knives. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I think I'm really not so sure if it's the case of the politicians are actually that stupid, if they're just ignorant, or they actually know what they're. What are they thinking? Honestly, what are they thinking? Honestly, I think a more reasonable approach would be to actually have people defend themselves. I've made this argument time and time again, and I'm going to continue to argue this, that if you've got a person that's going to be a victim, and you've got the person who's going to commit the act, the person who's going to commit the act doesn't care what the law says, because they're about to kill someone. They don't care that you can't carry a knife, or that said knife's illegal. They don't care because they're about to kill someone. They're about to stab someone. Assault, murder, grievous bodily harm. Doesn't matter what it is. The fact is they're about to do it. They don't care about the law. And then you've got the victim. Well, here is pretty much, well, there's no pretty much about it. It's completely illegal to carry any item whatsoever for the purpose of self-defense. So what are you supposed to do with that? You've got, the only thing you're left to do is run, really. Well, honestly, it's mostly young men that's committing these crimes. Young men are usually pretty fast. They can usually run. They're usually pretty strong. So I mean, not everyone's going to be allowed to run them. And what if there's more than one? You're kind of snookered there, aren't you? You've got absolutely no way of defending yourself. Keeping in mind, pepper spray is completely illegal to own, full stop. You can't even have it at home, just completely banned. A more sensible approach, instead of banning things, would be to legalise having tools for self-defense, such as pepper spray and batons. At least the victim will have the slightest little chance. Anyway, that's pretty much all I've wanted to say for this video. Thank you for watching, and by the way, this gameplay is just purely for something to look at while I talk. I can't always be bothered to get the knives out and set up a camera, and I would imagine that gets boring sometimes anyway, so I thought, you know, screw it, I'll just put Forza on and just talk while playing that. So anyway, thank you for watching, and do give me your thoughts below. Cheers.